Yeah. Today we are going to discuss a Sefer Torah written by Christian people. Literally that. According to the ritual, that is part of the story today. Just have to stay with us. We have amazing stuff going on. We have a lot of information about the Gilyonim, the empty, the those unwritten blank spaces in a Sefer Torah. Are they holy or not? Yeah, we're going to learn about Sefer Torah written by all types of funny people. So let's just get going. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. Everybody's celebrating the elections. Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay, we're electing Torah. Let's go. This Shiel's Nishmas, my father, Menachem and Akiva. Uzbas Shalom Sol Bas Moshe. Shabbos Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph. For the quick release of all the Chatufim. Kuf Zayin Amud Aleph. We are in Iboilahu. Yeah, line starts with Ravashi but Golim, kind of, more or less one third from the top of the page, or one quarter, whatever. Iboilahu Agilionim Shel Sefer Torah. We are discussing here, as we said already before, we've been discussing since the beginning of the Perek, Maseches Shabbos, Perek, Kol Kisvei. Yeah, we are discussing the question of saving Sefer Torah from fire on Shabbos. So Sefer Torah, regular Sefer Torah, you save on Shabbos from the Sreifa, Chalila, even in the price of Isser Derabanan. There's another point. There's another point which you did not mention till now, but now Tosfos brings it into the weaves it in. There's another reason why one would not save any Sefer Torah at any cost, right? In other words, there is another question in general regarding saving stuff from one's house on Shabbos, and I kind of mentioned it in passing, and that is the problem is that once you um, start saving everything from a house on fire, may never happen, then you get so engrossed, so engaged in saving and saving and saving, and you just care about the money and the goods and everything you have in your house, you may come to extinguish the fire. And that's a Chachamim, basically limited people whose house is burning for 3 seudos, right? You can only take up to 3 seudos, and if you had 1 seudah already, only 2 seudos, so on, and a limited amount of garments, of clothing, v'chulei. Sefer Torah, if it's not a real good Sefer Torah, as we're going to see soon, that question also comes up. We're going to revisit that in Mirza Hashem. Let's go. Says the Gemara, Iboilahu, Hagilyonin shel Sefer Torah. Gilyonin shel Sefer Torah, soon we're going to define them. Metzilin osim pnei dleika, or ein metzilin osim pnei dleika. Do you or don't you save them from the dleika? Says Rashi, Agilyonim, klafim, chalokim. The parts of the klaf that is smooth, empty, nothing written there. What does that mean? At this point, we think that the Gemara question is, any type of blank space, kigoin, either the parts that are supposed to be blank, the top part, the bottom part, the sides, right? Basically, the frame of, we know, each amuda in the Sefer Torah. Oh, and another type is what happens to Sefer Torah was erased. The Sefer Torah is there, but the letters were erased, and all you have is just the Gilyon itself. You just have the klaf. So maybe because that Sefer Torah was designated, not only designated, it was written. This Sefer Torah had its better days, and the Gilyonim, the sides, also have kedusha. They're like the mishamish. They're like serving, yeah, as the frame of the Sefer Torah, and the part that was written and erased still maintains the kedusha. Yeah. Now you may ask a question that, of course, that's wrong, because we said before that a Sefer Torah that has less than 85 letters is not Kodesh. Okay, let the Gemara ask the question. Give the Gemara a chance. Says the Gemara, Iboilu. There was a question. Iboilu. Hagilyonin shesefer Torah. Matzilin osum pnei dleika or en matzilin osum pnei dleika. You have a Gilyon, a Sefer Torah. Either we're talking about the sides, the middle is erased, all out. All you have is the actual parchment. Does that grant you the right? Yeah, does that demand of us that level of kedusha to save it from the dleika on Shabbos or not? Because saving dleika on Shabbos is an issue. Toshma. So now comes the ultimate answer, which you were trying to say before. Sefer Torah shabolo. A Sefer Torah, what's bolo? It's worn. The actual parchment itself, the cloth itself, is worn out. So and the letters are not doing very well. If you can glean and collect from here and there 85 letters, Kigon Pashas Vivin Sa'aron, which we discussed extensively yesterday, the minimum parsha or even chumash in the Torah is Vivin Sa'aron that contains 85 letters. Very good. Matzilin. In other words, if the Sefer Torah basically 85 letters were salvaged, survived 85, you save it. Vimlav, ein matzilin. But if you have less than 85, even just 84, you don't save that Sefer Torah. No. V'amai, why? If you want to tell me that Gilyonim themselves, the actual parchment, the cloth, has kedusha, regardless, it's a star in his own right, then Tepu Mishum Gilyon today. Then who cares about the 85 letters? There were 0 letters, not 84, not 85. Even if there are no letters, Tepukle, you should come from Gilyon today. Save it in order to maintain the respect, the dignity of the Gilyon, of the actual cloth. And it seems to be not the case. It seems that if there are no letters, just cloth, we don't save the Sefer Torah. So what's your question, right? It's a brisa. Why are you asking me a question? Answers the Gemara, Bala, shiny, boom, period, which means we're not talking here about the good, nice, crispy cloth that is erased. And I said it to you at the beginning, I hinted, the story of the lesson 85 has 2 versions. Either we're talking about Sefer Torah, which is beautiful cloth, good cloth, called Gilyonim. And just the letters were erased. The letter were erased, somebody erased it, I don't know, a Nazi came or somebody, right? That's one version. Bala means worse than that the actual parchment is already can never be used. It's so worn out that itself, the bolo, the cloth is bala, it's already worn out. Then, because the gilyonim themselves are not usable, then you don't save it unless you have the letters, because there are no gilyonim. Because the gilyonim themselves are balui, they're all worn and torn. That's why you don't save it unless you have enough text. But if you have nice, good looking, good functional cloth, gilyonim, only the letters were erased, then back to our question. Then a question is a very valid question. You have good gilyonim, and they survived. Very well, they survived. They were just erased, the letters. Then maybe even with 0 letters, you would save the Sefer Torah, at least it's a maybe, because of the gilyonim having, their own kedusha, because they had their glorious day of when they served the Sefer Torah, and they still are maintaining their kedusha. Good question? Yes.
We're
question time. Yeah.
Focus on.
Good question. No, good question. Very good question. I don't know. I'll just point one thing. I want to point out when we talk about 85, we mean that the Sefer Torah was full, was actually written in full. It got the kedusha of a Sefer Torah, right? Sefer Torah, which is missing one letter to begin with, which wasn't written, is not kodesh. Here we're talking about Sefer Torah that had everything, and then they were erased, so it leaves the standard. But if the Sefer Torah is not finished, it's not yet kodesh, as far as I know. Weiter. Toshma. Yeah. Actually. Let's revise the Gemara's question. Let's revise the question. The question is as follows. You have a Sefer Torah, which was fully, nicely, beautifully written by the best Sefer in the world, or not the best Sefer in the world, yeah? Now, everything was erased, but the Gilyon was not Bolo. The Gilyon is nice and good and fresh looking, and the letters are not there. Do you say that the Gilyonim themselves, it's a question we don't yet know, the Gilyonim in 2 things. The frame, up, down, right, left, all the blank spaces all around the Sefer, all around the text, plus the text area where there was once text. Maybe we saved the Sefer Torah because of them, because maybe or maybe not, we don't know. We don't know, Yaakov. The Gemara still doesn't know. Do we or don't we say that the Gilyonim have kedusha on their own right because they were once written on? So do they maintain the kedusha enough to save on Shabbos? Yes or no? Toshma, Sefer Torah shenimchak. Spot the differences. What's this brisa talking about? What's nimchak? Nimchak means erased, but that means that the cloth is doing absolutely great. The cloth is not bola, that's nimchak. It was just, somebody scraped off all the letters. Back to 85, yeah? So if 85 letters can still be collected from all over, Kigon Pashas Vibin so and again Matzilin, then you save it. Vimlav Ein Matzilin, bang. Here you can't fight anymore. It says outright, the what? That if you don't have 85 letters and the Gillian is still doing well, right? It's just Nimchat, Ein Matzilin. Ve'amai, why? According to your Sophic, Tepeklim Shum Gillian Didei, right? L'choira, the Gillian itself is the reason to save it. And here we say outright, not like that. We say that even though the Gillian is there, you don't save it because you don't have 85 letters. What are you going to say now? And says the Gemara, now comes the whole new understanding on the whole concept of Gillian. Says the Gemara, now let's differentiate before we continue, just a tiny bit of explanation. Now we are dividing the two types of Gilyonim, meaning one type of Gilyonim are those that are supposed to be empty. They'll always empty. Top, bottom, sideways, v'chule, beginning of the Sefer, end of the Sefer, they are one type. They were never meant to be written on. Second Gilyonim are those that had text on them, and it was erased. Now we're dividing between them, and everything will be clear, Be'ezras Hashem. Zog the Gemara, Mokem Aksav, the place where there was once upon a time in the glorious days, that place was meant for writing, and it was written, Loikami Baili. Regarding that, we never had a question. Why didn't we have a question? Now listen to the point. The Chikodosh, the reason why this area of the middle of the text is holy, why is the cloth holy over there? Agav Ksavhu the Kodosh. It's only Kodosh because of the Ksav. It's not meant to be empty. It's meant to have the writing on it. It's Kodosh bizchus the writing. Ozal Ksav, Ozlo Lakdushosei, first white line. Once the Ksav is gone, Mimela the Kedusha of the cloth where it's supposed to be written also faded away and went away. So regarding that, we don't have a question that really it's not Kodesh unless you have the magic 85. But the text area, if the text is not there, what is it good for? Right? Nothing. Yeah, you empty the bag, you throw the bag in the garbage. Lavdil. Kikami Baili. So what was the question of maintaining the kedusha of the Gilyonos? Kikami Baili. Shalmala, Vishalmata, the one on top, the one at the bottom. Sheben Pasha, the Pasha, right Pasha, Pasha is what? Sgura Psucha, between one Pasha and the other. Sheben Daf Ledaf, between one page and the other. The Amudos, right? Shebetchilas Sefer, Shebesoif Sefer, the beginning of Sefer Torah, there's empty space. At the end of the Sefer, empty space. Very good. Which means that really, when it comes to, the question is as follows. You have a Sefer Torah with no text, right? So the middle part really lost it. The king has lost his crown. The middle part, which is like all erased and probably has like black ink left, right? The middle, where the text is supposed to be and is gone. Gone is the text, gone is the kedusha. But the sides were never supposed to be written on. The sides were always there in order to be the empty space of the middle. So maybe since they were supposed to be empty and remain empty, and they served the Sefer Torah so loyally the whole time, maybe they do maintain the Kedusha. It wasn't like taken away from them, because if you look just at them, all the side, the frame was empty, was supposed to be empty, and stayed that way. So maybe they maintain Kedusha, and maybe you do save it on Shabbos. That's a question, which we remain with. But comes the Gemara with a technical question. Excuse me. V'tepuk lemishum hahu, question mark, meaning, wait a second. What's your story? If you're telling me that they have the kedusha on their own, the choshev rabbanim, the top, bottom, all the blank spaces that's supposed to be blank, yeah, the frame of all over. If you're telling me that the kodesh on their own right, so again, I'm bothered by this 85 business, which we keep sticking to, because if you, what did you just tell me? Let's have a blank Sefer Torah, and it's burning. Oy vavoy, fire started on Shabbos. I don't know who, Hamas, Hezbollah, Imach Shemam. There's fire in the shul on Shabbos, right? Sefer Torah, things are happening, right? So now, that Sefer Torah, says the Gabbai, I counted before Shabbos, it has 82 and a half letters, right? You don't save it. Why? But if you're telling me that the Gilyonos, up, down, and sides, have the Kedusha, so of course you have to save it for the Gilyonim. So still it remains difficult. Why are you telling me that you have to have 85? Who cares about the 85? Every Sefer Torah in the world has blank spaces on the sides. It's supposed to be blank. And you have it sad to say that they themselves maintain the Kedusha. So at the end of the day, Even if the text in the middle is 84 or 0, at the end of the day, you should save it mitzad the sides. That's supposed to be blank. And you have a tzad to say that maintain the kedusha. So why are you philosophizing with me? At the end of the day, get the Sefer Torah out. Because we care about those blanks and all over, beginning and v'chule. Elamai, if you let it burn, mashma, we don't care about the kedusha of the sides. So back to square one, your question does make sense. 1 second. Answers the Gemara, right? But you were making ukimta. The guy is v'shadi enochinami. We're talking over here about a Sefer Torah in which you were gozes. You cut out all it's a Sefer Torah which was doctored. That Sefer Torah that we say you don't save because it doesn't have 85 letters. You know what kind of Sefer Torah is that? It was cut out. Only the middle parts survived, and somebody maybe restitched them, and all the sides, top, bottom, and all the frame, which is supposed to be blank, was guys, and were thrown away. Shadi, it was thrown away. I don't know if to the Genizah or not. Get it? So therefore, we say now, since the blank spaces who maintain their own kedusha are out in the Genizah, or maybe in the garbage, they're out of the story. And the only thing that stays is just the middle, and the middle itself has no kedusha without the letters, then you don't save it misreifa because you don't have 85 letters. But a regular Sefer Torah, which has everything there, has all the blank frame, at least there's a tzad to say, that regardless of 85 letters or 87 or I don't care how many or 2, I don't care, yeah, because it has all the sides, all the blank frame, maybe that itself is reason to save it. Let's summarize. I feel there's mokoim for summary before we talk about, let's summarize now and then we'll continue. We're in the third wide line. Again, the story is as follows. When you have a Sefer Torah that's completely erased, so we clearly know that the part in which there was text and it was erased, as long as the cloth is good and nice and reusable and fine and fresh to some level, not bolo, then we say that the middle part where there was text is not Kodesh anymore. No, because the text went, along with it went the entire kedusha of that area. The question we pose is, what about the Sefer Torah that's completely erased, but it still has, nobody cut out, it still has the sides, top, bottom, sides, bent partial, parsha, all the blank spaces that are supposed to be there. You posed an interesting question yesterday, I don't know about Hazinu, right, or Shir Sayam, right, maybe there too. Any place is supposed to be blank. What about that? We remain besophic. We don't know. Maybe you should save the Sefer Torah because of them, or maybe you don't. What's the big mitzvah with 85 letters? There we talk about a Sefer Torah in which somebody cut out lahavdil from a newspaper, just this picture, right? Like your children do, for school, right? You cut out just the written part, and there is no written part there. That lost the kedusha, for sure. But the sides, maybe they maintain the kedusha, maybe they don't. We're still besophic. That's it. Now, you're good?
And just quick question. You remember you taught us in
Weiter. Toshma, one more brisa regarding this. Agilyonin shelmala v'shelmata, the empty spaces above the parsha and below, sheben parsha leparsha, between one parsha and the other, the blank spaces between the samichs, the pays, which we have in the chumash, sheben daf ledaf, between one page and the other, amuda, shebetchilas sefer, the beginning of the sefer, shebesof sefer, mitamin esayadayim. What's mitamin esayadayim? So we learned in Daf Yudalid, the one of the Yud Ches Dover, one of the 18 decrees in which Beth Shammai managed to overpower Beth Hillel, many of them to do with Tumah V'Tara. One of the Xeris was that whoever touches the Sefer Torah, his hands become sheni, and they metam the Truma. Right? So if you touch the Sefer Torah, which Chachamim did not want you to touch the Sefer Torah, lack of respect, today we don't touch Sefer Torah either, right? Whenever you're trying to help the little poor kid with a goylel, you take some talis and you help him. You don't touch the sefer, right? It's not respectful. Now, what happens then? If you did touch it, it's matam esayadayim. Now, you have to realize that the higher the kedusha, the more that there's a gzera in the tuma. For example, there's a question in Maseches Megillah about Esther, Daniel. Are they really as holy as the rest of the Torah or Tanakh or not? And the litmus test, the parameter was mitam esayadayim. Yeah, the Gemara there says Esther metamis yadayim. What do you mean Esther metamis yadayim? If you touch Megillah Esther metamis yadayim, tells you Esther is the real deal. It's written with full Ruach HaKodesh like the rest. There's a question about Daniel, maybe Ezra, I don't remember. In other words, metamis yadayim is an indication of kedusha, because the more it has to be treated with respect, the more heilig, the more clear Ruach HaKodesh, a level of Torah. So too the Tuma applies. Now, look what we say. We see that the Gilyonim, if you touch the Gilyonim, metamis yadayim. So what does that mean? That Gilyon has kedusha as of itself. So you see the Gilyonim have kedusha, and says the Gemara, Dil ma'agel Sefer Torah shiny. We're not talking there about an empty Sefer Torah. When the Sefer Torah is well written, how many letters is Sefer Torah? 304,000. Well, okay, I trust you. No, I just don't remember. My math is bad. Well, thank you for saying the number. Now, if you have a fully written Sefer Torah, right, and you touch the Gilyonim, then like David is saying, Shkoyach. Of course the Gilyonim are holy as long as the text is there. And even if you touch the Gilyon and not the words, it's bad enough and your hands are tomei. But if the Sefer Torah was erased, maybe then the sides maybe they also lost their kedusha, like you were saying. Toshma, here comes the connecting point, the contact point between our sugya and the sugya of the Christian Sefer Torah. Let's see. Agilyonim, Toshma, Gilyonim, Vesifrei Minin. Who are the Minin? First, Gilyonim. Okay, Gilyonim are Gilyonim. We know what they are now, I hope. Sifrei Minin. Sifrei Minin. Rashi defines that Sifrei Minim is, I just read it inside, Mishosim Lavadazor or Mumorim Lavadazor. There are two Gerzois. Yeah, because of them, Vimksuvim V'chulei. They wrote a super kosher Sefer Torah, but they are Mumorim Lavadazor. The Ritva doesn't mince his words, and the Ritva says, Noitzrim Talmidei Yeshu. Yeah, he says minim, and actually I thought in other sources, although I don't need anyone to be on the Ritva. Yeah, the Ritva and others say minim are people, the original of the Derech people, who established Christianity, and they now write a Sefer Torah. Yeah, or today, let's say you have a Jew who knows about Torah, yeah, and he writes a Sefer Torah, and he's a complete kosher, doesn't believe in the Torah, doesn't believe in Hashem, drives in car on Shabbos on purpose to the shul, and she or he, they write a Sefer Torah, right? They write a Sefer Torah, okay? So now the question is, what's the status of this Sefer Torah? Agilyonim v'sifra minin ein matzilin oisin mipnei adleika. You don't save them from fire on Shabbos. Now we said there's an issue. Why? Because why should you save it? First of all, there could be a problem of eruv. Secondly, you just don't save anything on Shabbos. You limit the amount of things one's allowed to save from fire is limited anyways, so you shouldn't come to extinguish it. Ela nisofin bimkoimon hen ve'azkaroisehen. Don't feel bad about Shem Hashem being erased, being on fire. Don't worry. It was written by Yamin. It was written by Rabbi Koifer, Mumal, Christian, or Father McKinley, whoever. They wrote the Sefer Torah. So you let them burn on Shabbos. But what's the first item mentioned? Gilyonim. And it says Mufurish, my love, Zok the Gemara, Gilyonim Sefer Torah. Gilyonim, I assume, are Gilyonim which we keep talking about all the time for the past half hour. Gilyonim of Sefer Torah, which don't have the Sefer Torah written on them. It's just the Gilyon blank with the Sefer Torah erased. And yet it says outright, you don't save them. You don't save them from the fire. Here's your answer. Zok the Gemara, not necessarily. Gilyonim the Sifra Minin. No, we're talking about the Gilyonim of the Sifra Minin. Interesting. The Sifra Minin, they themselves got erased. Yeah, Baruch Hashem. And the Gilyonim of those Sifra Minim, them you don't save from the fire. Right? Then you don't save from the fire. Now there's another gear. So you see there's a little aleph. The little aleph takes you to the Bach. The Bach has a different gear here. And he writes, V'sifra Minin gufayu matzilin. Yeah, which means instead, please erase the words hashta until Gilyonim and skip to Mibaya. And the version is, are you telling me the Gilyon of the Christian or Reform Sefer Torah you don't save? Are you indicating that the Sefer itself you do save? Is that what you're telling me? Yeah?
The cloth.
No. Yes. Are you telling me that the cloth after everything is erased, you don't save, but the Sefer Torah written by Rabbi Elizabeth, you do save it? Is that so? As Zok the Gemara, no. Lo. Gilyonim, Hachika Omar. V'sifa minin harem kegilyoinim. You should know a Sefer Torah written by a min is as good as a gilyon. Gilyonim the Sefer minim. That means what? The gilyonim of the Sefer minim or the Sefer minim without as the written are the same. In other words, basically, the Bryce is kind of, I think, making fun of the Sefer Torah of the minim. It tells you whether it's written as a Sefer Torah or just an erased Gilyon, it's the same. I don't care whether the text is there or not, they maintain the same lack of kedusha, and therefore you let it burn on Shabbos. Yeah, a Gilyonim of the Sefer Minim or Sefer Minim themselves were just the same. I don't care that they wrote Bereshit Bara Elokim with a beautiful ksav, and they went to a course of the Sefer Stam given by, I don't know, Rabbi Cynthia. It's nothing garnished, written or not written is the same, and you don't save it from the fire. But it does not reflect anything regarding our question, which is a Sefer Torah Amiti, a real Sefer Torah written by a real Sefer, that we remain in a question. We did not yet resolve the question whether the Gilyonim as of themselves maintain the Kedusha or not. Gufa. Now let's dive into the cool stuff over here about the Christian Sefer Torah. What do you say, Akiva? Christian Sefer Torah? Gufa, Hagilyonim v'sifrei minim. Okay. Ein matzilin osim mipnei adleika. So it comes Shabbos, and there is a dleika in that place. Okay, good. So then what? You don't save the Sefer Torah, that kind of quote-unquote Sefer Torah mipnei adleika. That's on Shabbos. Lemaisa, the Shem Hashem is there. The Torah's text is still there, including Shem Hashem. So what happens on a weekday when I don't have any halachic issue of compromising Mashmiel Shabbos? Let's say the fire happened on Sunday, or let's say there's no fire. Let's say you have a Sefer Torah written by Christian, by Reform, by Conservative, yeah? Comes to your hands. What do you do with it? Burn it? Genizah? What do you do stam with that Sefer? Yeah? No, not on Shabbos. On Shabbos for sure don't save it. During the week. Your Reformed second cousin gave you a nice matana, a Torah from the temple, yeah? Written by Rabbi, shall I say more women's names? I don't know so many. Yeah, Rita. Yeah, so beautiful Torah. We use it every time in the temple, and the whole family goes up together. Yeah, Shem Shmo. Yeah, people, the bar mitzvah, they combine, they do. The 60 or 73 years old relatives are, and then I even have relatives like that, and I'm Israeli. At the age of 73, they gave her bar mitzvah to a woman, and they combined Christian, Muslim, and Jewish themes together at the Torah. I'm sorry to discuss you, but that's where that's 40 years ago. Anyway, so Hashem Yishmo. So what do you do such a quote-unquote Sefer Torah? Rabbi Yossi argues, and he says, B'choil, on a weekday, you cut out the azkoros, meaning the name of Hashem. That's hard work, yeah. You got to go through the entire Sefer, cut out any time where the name of Hashem Elokim is mentioned. The goings on, put that in Genizah, put it in the big blue box over there, goings on, vash'al soifon. And the rest you burn. That's Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Tarfon goes strong over here. I would bury my children if what you're saying is right. I'm absolutely in strong disagreement with Rabbi Yossi. He doesn't really mean he's going to kill his children. He said, I would kill them if that was true. That if such form would come to my hand, I would burn this entire Sefer Torah with the azkoros of it all in one go, take it to the fire and burn it, and that's halacha. I don't know who's amin, who's not amin, but this is halacha. Halacha is a Sefer Torah written by people who are clearly koifer. Yes or no, it's a koifer. I'm not paskening now. It's a koifer. Pikoros, ask your rabbi. Orthodox, yeah. But I'm saying, if you know it's amin, then you burn the ganze story. There's no kedusha. The whole Sefer Torah is kodesh. Why? Because the kedusha infused in it. There's no kedusha over there. Tuma. Now continues Reb Tarfon to get us excited. Let's say a person runs after him. Really, Reb Tarfon spoke about himself, they say in the Rishonim, but he speaks in third person, not to be Pasech Pelasoton. So says Reb Tarfon, even if somebody would run after me to kill me, yeah, a nice guy from, I don't know, Hamas, let's say there's a Nachosh, a snake, slithering after him to Lakishoy, to bite him. Nichnas lebase of the Zora, you're allowed to enter a base of a Zora in order to save your life. We're going to elaborate on that. The enichnas potential elu, but to go to a place of people who are Jewish koifrim is worse. to go to a place of potential elu, of Jewish people who went off, not stam off the derech, I don't mean any of the derech halila, to base tifla of people who know better and decide to be koifrim is worse than base of a Zorah. Why? Says Rabbi Tarfon, Shalalu mekirim the koifrin, valalu ein mekirim the koifrin. The regular Zorah, what do you want from his life? This guy is born in India, is a goy. All his life, since he's 2 years old, he's told that the getchke is God, the big golden getchke. That's what he knows. What do you want from him? There is some kind of tvi against them. They should have known better. It doesn't really mean anything bad. He doesn't know any better. Einan mekirin, they don't know anything better, and therefore, if you really start, by the way, I looked at Shulchan Aruch today, and to my great surprise, it says it in Halacha Mefurash that unless it's Zman Hashmad, which is different, if a person, in order to save his life, there's a mob running after a guy in the street, and he can run into a base of a Zorah, he's allowed to. Why? Because the base of a Zorah itself is not of a Zorah. We're not talking about the house where the walls are of a Zorah. There are such cases in the Masechta of the Zorah. That's different. We're talking about a house. It's a house. In the house, they have a golden getchka, they have a Catholic. I'm not going out to question what's over the Zohar. They have a yoshka, they have things that then, okay, close your eyes and stay there. And he asked him, do you mind if I stay for a few minutes until the mob goes? Vakasha. Okay, I'm not gonna join you for mincha, you tell them, but I can stay here. Yeah. But to go to the base, meaning the guy's a Ponevezh graduate. The guy is a Chveisnish, the Gerechosi, the ex, and he started the whole new Kfira movement. These things are true. Yeah, lo leinu, and he knows very well, and he chooses to start the whole Kfira movement, and he has a shul, not allowed to go in there even to save your life. Wow. V'alena Kosov Omer, about them, the Kosov says, and this is a pasuk in Isaiah, a pasuk in Ishaya, the Acha Delis VaMezuzah, Sams Zichroinach, please, yeah? The Acha Delis VaMezuzah, Sams Zichroinach. What does that mean? You put your memory, it's so true, you put what you remember under the door. In other words, you know better. You, Rabbi Reform, who used to be in yeshiva, used to learn in yeshiva, you know the truth. You remember the truth. You remember what you were taught in Cheder and Yeshiva Ktana, and you choose to repress it. You put it under the door. Behind the door, you're sweeping under the carpet what you remember from the good old days, and you choose to start a whole movement of reform, of conservative. That is something which is unforgivable, and that is why it's worse than the regular of the Zorah. Now, Omar Bishmoel. Now comes Rabbi Shmuel.
Some called open orthodoxy.
There's a lot of shtiyot in the world. A lot of shtiyot. The Shem Shmuel says, we have Hasidic people over here. Good. The Shem Shmuel says, even I remember that the last Golus is a combination of all the shtiyot of all the Golios together. That's today. Pritzes, Gai, Vetay, Mishkav Zocher, everything, atheism, open, shmopen, it's all here together. All the shtiyot have gathered together before the times of Mashiach. Yeah, so don't you feel it? So we get more schar for not following it. Yeah, Amar Bishmoel kal v'choymer, all the more so. Uma lasas shalom ben ish leishtoi. If in order to create peace between husband and wife, Amro Torah, the famous line, what did the Torah say? Shmi shenichta b'kedusha, my name was written b'kedusha, yimocha alamayim. We all know that, right? Hashem says, I'm even willing to have my own name erased. We know what they do to the Soito, right? He writes a Kohen, writes a Parsha Soito, and then he basically not dilutes. He erases it. He puts it in the water, so it gets not diluted. What's the word? Fades away. Yeah, dilutes. Yeah, the water. So Imamish erasing the name of Hashem. Why? In order to create peace between husband and wife, to clarify her loyalty to him. Lalu. So those people, those Jewish minim. They create jealousy and hatred, and tacharus is like it's a kind of jealousy between Am Yisrael and Hashem. All the more so, we will erase all the names that they write. Yeah, so if Rabbi, whoever, Lisa, she writes a sefer and she knows, there is a question about people who don't know and they're reformed. That's another shayla. Someone Jewish was born into Krumashkofa. So that's a different question already, if he's called a kamin or not. But somebody who knows better and they learn and they refute what they know, right? The first generation, if they write the Sefer Torah, for sure you erase the whole thing, you burn the whole thing, because they are people who create hatred between Am Yisrael and Shemaim. And I think that point is true about any rabbi who's misleading people. Yeah, I'm talking about not people who are b'derech HaMesayim. V'alem amar David, let's just finish over here in 2 minutes. V'alem amar David, David HaMelech, full of love. And what does David say? On them said David, Al mesanecha Hashem esna, your haters Hashem, I will hate. Ubeskomimecha eskoitat, those who rise up against you, I will fight against them. Tachli sinas nesim, wow, the ultimate, all-encompassing hatred, I hate them. Le'oivim hoyuli, wow, they are my enemies, right? So as much as we love Klal soil, and this is chas v'sholom, not talking about the regular average chilonim who don't know any better, or even know a little bit. We're not talking about them. Chalila, chalila, chalila. But person who do know and they create the whole kru mashkofa and they maces to mediach other people to follow them, that's a status. Just like you don't save the Sefer Torah of those clowns from Dleika on Shabbos, you don't save them from any other disaster. You don't save them from a poilus, from falling stones, or from water that come upon them, or anything that destroys them. What's the chiddush? Says Rashi, 2 words, afilu bechol. Not only on Shabbos you don't save them. Yeah. Says this is talking not according to Rabbi Tarfon. According to Tarfon, of course you don't save them, you burn them actively. But even according to Rabbi Yossi, who's being more compassionate and says, the shameless, maybe, even according to the more lenient opinions, not Rabbi Tarfon, if it's in danger, not only on Shabbos when there's a question of Chilul Shabbos, even in a weekday, to stay passive, I'm allowed to stay passive and not save those Sefer Torah who have the course of Hashem in them. So let's summarize. According to Rabbi Tarfon, ballistic. According to Rabbi Tarfon, you actively burn it when you can, burn it, no question. According to Rabbi Yossi, yeah, if they came into your hands, your cousin gave you this Reform Sefer Torah, what do? You cut out the chorus and the rest you burn. But if it's burning or under any other danger, earthquake, twin towers, whatever happens there, then even according to Rabbi Yossi, you're not supposed to make any effort to save them, even with the names, right? Just let it happen, even according to the more lenient opinions. Okay? Later, we can continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we're continuing, Bezos Hashem. We will have shir tomorrow, Bezos Hashem. And thank you very much. May we only have the light of Torah, the emes, and use the good seifrim. We have a lot of them in the neighborhood. And we should see Mashiach soon, Bezos Hashem. Elections now, the new elections should happen to elect the Geula. Shkoyach, thank you very much. Atzlocho v'rocho. Thank